Perfect. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining our guest speaker, September guest speaker, BEPP, Business Entrepreneur Private Practice Student Interest Group. Today, we have the honor to have Dr. DeAnda from his own successful practice, Optimum Physio Therapy. Dr. DeAnda is a successful clinic owner running his business with his wife, and he has opened 3 PT clinics in San Antonio area. He graduated from San Diego State with the kinesiology degree major, and then get a master's degree in physical therapy at University of Texas Health Science Center. And not long after that, he also tried to get the post-professional doctoral, get into a post-professional doctoral program, and then earn his DPT degree from University of Texas Health Science Center. So without further ado, I want to give the floor to Dr. DeAnda. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for the intro. Happy to be here, guys. And I hope y'all find this information useful. And it really helped us. And I know there's a lot of value to it. We actually measure it. So it's going to be good information. I hope y'all get a lot out of it. If it's okay, I'll just do I'll share my screen. Is that all right? All
Dr. DeAnda, if you can hear us, it looks like your mic's muted.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
I don't know if it's when I go to share my screen that it takes my volume off, my mic off. Let me try it again.
Okay.
Are you all able to hear me?
Unfortunately not.
Well, okay. Well, I'm prepared to scale this information and just kind of talk y'all through this. Is that okay?
Sure, that'd be great.
Okay, so talking about how to increase sales by increasing value in the physical therapy clinic. This is about how to increase the perception of value with your clients and how to do it in a way that's tasteful, right? As it should be, as a health fiduciary, as a doctor in physical therapy, right? That's what we are. And that's how we should present ourselves all the time. This is a talk for you if you're thinking about cash services, if you want to have more power in selecting the types of patients in your clinic, if you feel like you know, sometimes it can feel like you're being a little manipulated by the referral sources that physician in particular in the community. I've had even, unfortunately, you know, the audacity of, some offices asking me for, just small bribes, nothing serious, but, just things that are just kind of inappropriate. And, it gives power to the clinic, being able to bring a value to your, the perception of value into your clients, and able to sell cash services also helps out with stability, and helps with revenue that comes in month after month. Whereas sometimes we're kind of at the mercy of insurance and what's going on with reimbursement. For example, deductibles, at the beginning of the year, a lot of deductibles increase, to the max, and people in general don't like to come into the clinic at that time because of their high deductibles. Just to check in, can y'all hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you. Just
Great.
fine.
Great. Okay. So, and then I want to talk about something called improving the long-term value of your clientele. And maybe when you first see that, you think, oh, okay, I guess you're trying to hold on to your clients, or have a plan of care indefinitely. No, that's not what I'm talking about. Having that long-term value of your clients is having a client that goes through a plan of care, completed plan of care, may be discharged from their plan of care within a month or two, and then later in their lifetime, perhaps a year later, 2 years, 3, 4, 5 years. I've even had clients come back to me after 10 years. They come to you again because they know that they see a lot of value in your clinic, and their perception of your clinic is at a much higher value than anybody else around them. So that's very powerful, because then you start to retain and really have an established list of clients that continue to come to you for any issues they may have. I think that's what I mean by long-term value for your clientele. Does that make sense, guys?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So, Optimum Physiotherapies, we've come, we've come a good distance. We started with a very small staff, and my wife, and we came from fitness, and then evolved from there, got into physical therapy because I became a physical therapist. But really, I started to learn sales and understand that early on in fitness, and then just continued. I think the thing I learned about fitness was that really sales is not a talent, and it's something that's learned. It's a skill, and there's some psychology as well with sales. So bringing that in fitness, and then translating it into physical therapy, so that's appropriate. That's what's important. Okay, y'all with me?
Yep.
Awesome. You did such a good job with my introduction. I'm not going to talk anymore about about me and what we're doing. So I'm just going to move on and just kind of talk more about this subject. Yeah, the first step, really, we got to understand our role in sales, and how we need to come across. We need to come across as what we are. We're doctors of physical therapy. Our interest should be, number one, the client's health, right? That's how we want to always be, and that's how we should always act, right? And that's beautiful. That's our wonderful profession. What I mean by this is, we're not selling, cars, or we're not selling dictionaries. We're actually selling people's health. We're selling good health. So we just got to help people understand the value of that. Unfortunately, people don't see things the way we do. We're doctors of physical therapy. We went through so many years of kinesiology and biology and physics and health, and putting it all together. Like, we get it, but the vast majority, they're nowhere near, right? our perception and what we're willing to spend. So we have to find a way to bring that value to those clients so that they understand, yes, this is worth investing. Okay. This is something that I call the value equation. And if y'all can imagine I wish I could see it, but an equation that's equal to value. And imagine having things that are directly related to the perception of value to your clients, meaning your client's dream outcome of themselves after they do your plan of care. And what I mean by that is, in the client's own words, right? They must verbalize which is basically their goals, right? Their best outcomes. After they complete the plan of care, what is their dream outcome? Then they have to have that clarity of that, and they have to verbalize that. That's crucial, right? Excuse me. They also directly related to the value, perception of value to your client is their percent certainty that they're going to get results. If you can give any kind of help with giving them more certainty that they're going to get results, they will see more value in whatever that you're offering. For example, using testimonies of other people that have gone through your program, gone through your plan of care, come to your clinic with incredible results. If you can have visuals of those testimonies around your clinic or during your evaluation, that would also bring up the value, the perception of value to your clients, right? Now, inversely related would be time. You want to make, they have to be clear that going to your clinic and then investing in your cash physical therapy is going to help them save time, as opposed to going to another clinic or going to the gym with a personal trainer or going to the stretch lab or the chiro down the street. But if they go to your physical therapy clinic and they go through your cash program, it's going to save them tremendous time. They'll get better faster. Also, inversely related to perception of value is pain. If it's going to be the most pain-free experience, right? Who doesn't want to go through a rehab program and do great work pain-free? It can't be painful, because honestly, people run from pain. They don't want that. So it's imperative that you communicate what the client should expect and how pain will be to a minimal during their experience with your program or your cash services. That's what I mean by perception of value that the client is having, putting that value on your services that you're selling. Okay. When talking about training with sales guys, it's really, again, I'm going to say it's not you should never look at it as something that just people are just born, they're born salesmen. It's really training, and it's really a skill set. We've come to understand that in the clinic, and we actually take our staff through sales training that we've developed over the years. And it starts with an assessment, right, of the clinic, and understanding what are the current numbers, like how much and are they revenue bringing in every month on their cash services. And you gotta track that. We typically, people, when they start tracking things, they start improving it just from that. So keeping that in mind, you should track the revenue for sales month after month, even week after week. That's important. You got to understand that if you're doing a cash clinic. And then once you start to track that and see how you're doing with your cash services, that's when you start to make some goals. And that's part of the process too, understanding your numbers that you typically do and having some reachable goals. Maybe you start to understand what really sells, and maybe the things that you thought were selling well, you just need to kind of eliminate because it's kind of a waste of time. Maybe other things are just selling better, but all that stuff should be, you know, coming to surface when you start to look at your numbers. And that's what we did at our clinic. And then we just had a lot of, we continue with sales with our staff, doing online training. And then we do weekly, weekly meetings. We do consulting as well with other clinics, and we may do like weekly calls. But all of this is so that you have that skill set, right, to do your sales day after day, week after week, to have a better toolbox so that when you go into an eval, it's not really anything besides just taking somebody through a conversation and their guidelines, guys. It's not like some kind of script. It's just really helping people understand what's their current situation, helping people understand their goals, their best outcomes that they can imagine possible, really getting people to verbalize that. And then once they do that, put your services right in the middle between those two things, and then they will see some big value in whatever you're whatever you're offering. Y'all with me so far?
Yep.
How's my mic? Am I still choppy?
No.
Okay, great. All right, guys. Going back again to what I said earlier, the method, or maybe the role. Like, again, I can't stress enough, we are fiduciaries, right? We want to always come off that way. Sales should never be anything that's maybe, you know, just you know, it should never be it should always be with that in mind. We are people that always have the client's health at best interest in our mind, and we always want to promote that, right? And sometimes we have services in the clinic that is cash, so we have to take away those assumptions of what the client can and can't afford, and just truly present what we think will help them get to their goals that they want to get to. Sometimes that can be a challenge, and even myself, I may wrestle with that, making those assumptions on people, like, oh, they won't be able to afford, you know, this cash program, or they won't be able to afford it, you know, this cash physical therapy. But I've been surprised many times when I take people through, you know, this type of conversation, and I really help them understand the value by, you know, bringing clarity to their situation, and then getting them to verbalize their dream outcomes, and presenting what I think is the best way of getting there. And, you know, people are, you know, they don't hesitate. They want to start the program. And even people that have humble jobs, you know, things, you can't assume you know what is important to people. You can't assume what they're willing and not willing to invest in. So that's a big part of it too, guys. Taking out that assumption and just present your best recommendations to people. And where do I do this? It's the eval. It's the evaluation. I'm not limited to this conversation by no means, but it's definitely part of the interview. And it's about getting some clarity and listening to my client, asking them the questions, and just let them talk. Let them talk about, you know, not only what is their current situation, but how do they feel emotionally about their current situation. People don't get asked that. And oftentimes, yes, some of the clients, as I'm taking them through the interview, they get emotional, right? Because they've been through a lot, and for them to verbalize it for the first time, it can be, you know, a lot for them, and they do sometimes get emotional. But I don't look at that as a negative. If anything, I have a good idea of where they're coming from. I have a good idea whether they believe they're going to get better or not. Sometimes that is also, that comes out as well. They tell me whether they even believe in their health and that they're going to get better. But if they can have some emotional investment in that interview, there is a higher likelihood as well that they will commit to your recommendations, whether following just a physical therapy plan of care that's reimbursed by insurance, or someone that doesn't have insurance and they you're selling a cash physical therapy program. But again, that emotion, it's crucial. It's a big part of that interview too. I always ask that for my clients before I go into my assessment, and I start to check range of motion, strength, and investigate what to address. I always want to ask that and see what they tell me. I ask these questions and I let them talk. Really, it's really about what they tell you. But all that happens in the evaluation. There's some big do's and don'ts with sales. Let me see if I can pull this up. Give me a second. I had it here. Okay. I would say the top three things not to do. Sometimes it's about like what not to do. If you can just avoid, what not to do, you'll have some kind of success. But often with sales, there's these three mistakes that I feel if I can avoid, there's a high likelihood that whoever is in front of you will commit to the plan of care. The first one, don't talk excessively about yourself. You got to be careful during the evaluation and during the interview not to go on and on and on about your credentials, about how good you are at what you do, how much you're more qualified than the next PT clinic. I think it's easy to fall into that, especially for physical therapists, because we go through a lot to get to where we got to get to, and it's not easy. It's not easy. It's difficult for a lot of people. It's not, but I think for a lot of people, it's very, very difficult to become a physical therapist. Lots of time and education, lots of money. Incredible what people pay to be in the profession. So we want to talk about it. We want to talk about all those credentials, but when it comes to cash sales, guys, you got to leave all of that out. Avoid that temptation to talk about all your credentials and how much of an expert you are. It's more about the client. If you can put more time into talking about what the client wants, what the client's situation is, what is a client's dreams, what is the client's emotion, there's a higher likelihood, much higher likelihood that they're going to invest in your recommendations. Another mistake, number 2, I would say, believe it or not, I find that if I talk too much into detail about the program and I go too far in depth and I start to use a lot of medical jargon and anatomy, I tend to lose the client's interest in the program. Don't get me wrong. I'm not suggesting, be very vague on the evaluation. You put what you need to put down on your evaluation and do the measurements that you feel need to be done. I get that. But as far as like speaking to the client, just leave that stuff out. I tend to point out the obvious. If I see an asymmetrical measurement, maybe I'm measuring knee range of motion for like a total knee replacement, and there's an obvious, discrepancy with the two or asymmetry, I just point that out, just like that. Look at this strong leg. Look how good you can bend it. Can you see that? That's normal motion. Here you are, you don't even have half. I just talk. That's about as detailed as I get with my findings. But I want to really just just keep it high level and don't go into too much detail about the findings of what I'm finding. I just kind of I just make it obvious on the findings and leave all that medical jargon out. And then I think the last big mistake that to avoid during a sales conversation would be not building enough value. Going back to that value equation, guys, going back to, bringing clarity, talking enough about that, the client's dream outcomes, right? Their goals, talking and maybe linking some emotion. How would you feel if you were able to get to that marathon 3 months from now? How would that make you feel? Like, ask them that question and see what they tell you. But if I didn't ask enough, why they're here, why do they want to do that marathon? Why do they want to play golf? If I didn't do enough of those questions, then there's a higher likelihood as well that they're not going to commit to the plan of care that I'm going to recommend. But I would say those are the top three causes of a no sell. The top 3 common mistakes. Does that make sense, guys? Any questions on that?
I think we have a question here. How do you align your marketing effort with your sales goal to ensure a steady flow of patients?
How do I align my marketing so that I can continue with my sales? The way we market, we rely heavily on internal marketing. Do y'all understand the difference between internal and external marketing?
Not sure.
In internal marketing, I'm referring to my current and past patients that have come to the clinic. So my current clients, marketing to them with maybe a postcard, marketing to them with a newsletter, marketing to them with promotions that we're doing in the clinic as they're in the clinic. Do you know what I'm saying? That's internal marketing. And then marketing to past clients that have came in. Keeping a list is crucial, guys. Keeping a list of your past clients and having those clients on different platforms to market with them would be great. And giving them the option to opt out. You always want to, of course, you got to be ethical with that, right? But like, when you give people quality content and you give people real information for their health, they want to consume that, and they look for those advertisements. They look for those newsletters. They look for those blogs, right, that you may be doing. But all of those are just different vehicles to promote to your current and your past patient list. That's internal marketing. I would say that's number 1. You got to get that down before you start to go into the community, before you start to go to health fairs, before you start to do talks at community centers. Really stick with the people that already know you, that like you, that trust you, and market to those guys. They have a higher likelihood to come back to you. So I would say that's number 1. As a matter of fact, I don't know, we were supposed to have this talk earlier in the summer, were we not? Yeah, and right. I totally stood you up. I apologize. It was a bit of a tough spot for the clinic. I lost virtually, oh my gosh, more than half of my staff. And I had to step in for the first time in a year and a half into the clinic and work as a therapist. That meant no marketing, no events, no external marketing, nothing like that, right? All of that stopped. So what kept the clients coming? The internal marketing. Marketing to our current and past clients, that kept the clinic alive. That is crucial. I would say that's the number 1 way that we keep those sales goals hitting our goals. And that's exactly how we did it in the summer. And now we got our staff again, a new staff, and our numbers are really creeping up because I have help. I'm not working 15-hour days, 7 days a week. Thank God. I have my sanity. I made it. But yeah, now we have the staff to help with that load. I could take a step away from the clinic and let them have their fun, let them help people and do their good work. But that's a good question, guys. I like that. And I would have to say internal marketing #1. Any other questions on that before I move on?
I had a question, Mark.
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
How you doing? So my
I hear you
question
loud and
was,
clear.
have you implemented any automated systems like email follow-ups or customer relationship management tools to support your sales process?
Sure, guys. That's a good question, and that there's all kinds of online platforms that you can use to send a series of emails to your clients for just as they get into your program, as they sign up for your plan of care. You can have their first email just saying thank you. Thank you for joining this family at Optimum Physiotherapies, and we are happy to help you. Just giving them a warm welcome would be my first email. And I mean, there's MailChimp, there's all kinds of platforms, guys. Then going to the next email, maybe 2 weeks after that, hey, we have this great survey. We want to see how things are going, just to keep quality up there, right? We send that to our clients, making sure that they're getting better, making sure that they're getting their goals and that they're happy. And then as we get closer, maybe halfway through their plan of care, we may ask them for a review on Google, which is great, right? Because like everybody's looking on Google for reviews, and that's a big way for people to see that percent certainty that, hey, if I go to this clinic, Google reviews, right? We have all these Google reviews. All these people are saying they're getting better as well. I'm going to get better. You see what I'm saying? So when people see that, that really raises that perception of value that I was talking about, because they have more certainty from those testimonies on Google reviews. But yeah, that's whatever platform you want to go with, whatever one that's easy to navigate, and you can choose that. And you can start to already have different campaigns to your new clients, maybe even your past clients. You can do another campaign talking about maybe new services that you're offering. It could be, giving promotions during the holidays, and have that scheduled out throughout the year. But those are all good vehicles to market, again, to that internal marketing to your current and past patient list, if that makes sense. Yeah. Good question. Hey, David.
How's it going, Mark?
Okay, so yeah, doing good. Glad you can make it.
And Mark,
All right,
I have
so
one more question.
let me just. Yes.
Hey, Mark.
Let it rain.
One more question. just one more. So what qualities do you look for when hiring a physical therapist and administrative staff?
Well, I gotta tell you guys, that's a good question. And it's with physical therapy or administration, it's the same thing. Of course, with the physical therapist, I think it's easier to assume that they have the credentials, right? Because they have to have a license, right? They have to be a doctor in physical therapy now at this point, right? Because that's what we all are. here in the States. But you know, it's more a question of a cultural fit. Do they fit our values? Do they fit what we're about? Are there people that can align themselves on how we perceive we should be acting towards our clients? You know, sometimes it's just not a fit, and it's nothing personal. And you know, we don't take it personal. And our job with the initial interview is to try to bring that out and really help them understand, you know, what we are about, so that, you know, it's really, the interview is a two-way process. We want to be transparent for them, and we want them to be transparent too. But really, that's really what we're going after. Of course, you know, they have to be teachable. I mean, having enough humility to be taught is crucial, and to bend to our flow of things. That's part of it too. And you know, honestly, guys, cash physical therapy is not for everybody. It's not. And I was you know, I, I was surprised to understand that when I saw that, but not everybody is willing to do that, and that's okay too. That's okay too. If they're um, you know, if they don't want to sell any cash or have a conversation like that, um, that's also a deal breaker. Like we can't have a hire, make a hire as well. So I think they had to see the interview, they had to see the evaluation, and they had to see themselves perform that type of evaluation, because it's the game of physical therapy. You know, it's changing. You know, the truth is reimbursement's going down across the board for healthcare, and you know, payers are there. It's just more challenging to get paid, and more clinics are offering cash physical therapy or cash services. So you know, it's not for everybody. You know, it's really not. And you have to be fair, I guess, be fair to the clients that are, or to the physical therapists that are applying, to bring that out initially and let them understand this is what is expected, this is what we're going to do. So it's really that they have to be able to fit culturally, and they have to have that humility to be taught, and then have that hunger to, you know, to go through with a sales conversation, sell cash services. All at the same time, of course, keeping the client's keeping the client's health in number one priority, right? Because that's what it's all about. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay, let me move on. Let me see what else I got for you guys. I really wish I could see this handout. I'm going to go ahead and send this to y'all, if that's okay. I'll send y'all this PDF. That way y'all got it, and y'all can review it.
Yeah, Dr. DeAnda, if you can send it to either the chat or to my email, and I can share that to our group me with rest of the BEPP members.
There you go. We'll do that. Let me say here, guys, talking about the top 4 fastest ways to bring cash revenue into the clinic. The top 4 ways to bring cash revenue into the clinic, right? Number 1 on my list, again, how can we, what I'm saying is, how do you begin that, right? How do you begin to sell cash in your clinic? If you're completely 100% reimbursed by insurance, well, how can you start that program? What's our low-hanging fruit? It's our past and present clients. Marketing to them, letting them know, hey, we're doing this new therapy. It is a great therapy, and we're going to be helping a lot of people with it, and it's a new program. Marketing it to those clients that already know you, that like you, that trust you. That would be your low-hanging fruit. That would be the fastest way to bring in cash revenue into the clinic. that would be my go-to. Another thing to do to quickly sell cash in your clinic or program, maybe modify your evaluation. Put a little bit more time into the interview. I'm not talking about speaking to them like for 30 minutes on, ongoing interview. Guys, I usually go through my interview and I got my clients to commit to the plan of care with their cash, them investing in cash within 30 minutes. And by the 30-minute mark, they're already starting their physical therapy or their cash program. So the interview is like 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes tops. But bringing that emotion, again, I talked about it earlier, asking them how do they feel about their current situation and where they want to go, asking them about that emotion. That's a big plus. That'll help you tremendously bringing cash into your clinic. And then the last thing I would say, like the thing to really keep in mind to when you're first starting to bring cash programs into your clinic, assume the close. What I mean by that is, once you presented your best recommendations, whether it's your physical therapy plan of care or your cash laser program or your cash dry needling program, assume the close. After you presented it to them, just assume that they want to start and say, okay, we can start today. How do you want to pay for that? And just be quiet. That can be sometimes difficult. It can be difficult at first, but with practice and with time, you just learn to be quiet. I think sometimes the silence is uncomfortable and people kind of ramble on. Oh, but you're also going to get this and that and this. No, just make your recommendations after you do your assessment and just, tell them what is it going to be financially. If it's an $800 program, it's $800 and for the laser program, and we're going to be doing it for a month alongside your physical therapy, and we can start today. Are you ready? Yeah. So you can see that takes a little practice, but once you learn how to assume the close and just to be quiet after you present your program, you're moving in the right direction. So those three things, guys: promote to your present and your past clients, take your time in the interview and bring emotion to the interview, and then just assume the close. One more thing, I do want to leave a little bit of time for some more questions. Any questions on that, what I just said about the fastest ways to bring cash revenue into the clinic?
I have a quick question. I noticed that on your website you do accept insurance. So do you kind of utilize the insurance to attract the clients, the patient, to your business, and then once they are internal, I guess the current patient, then you kind of sell the program to them, or is there like two different way of paying at your clinic?
We have a large reimbursement coming from insurance, and that's how we started the clinic. You see, we were completely reimbursed by insurance, and we were looking for ways to bring in cash services, things that is not reimbursed by insurance, and they don't even recognize it as a payable code, right? Things like deep tissue laser. So that's a good tool. If y'all haven't sought after or tried that, I invite y'all to the clinic, and I invite y'all to, y'all hanging out here with me. Anytime you want to come to my clinic and try any of our special therapies, or just look at our business model, check out how we do things, I invite y'all, please come. Yeah, these things that just aren't covered by insurance, and we get around looking for those therapies that are really special, that are kind of like body hacks, I guess you can call it, to say, simply. But there's things that that have some good, also of course, that's backed up with some good research, things that we have tried, things that our colleagues have tried and recommend. That's why it's so important. You get out, go to summits, go to PPS, go to the conferences, get to know what your colleagues are doing, talk to them, see what's on the market, see what's on the floor. That's crucial, guys. But yeah, it's bringing those special therapies, whether it's reimbursed by insurance or it's cash. It doesn't matter. If it does a great job, we'll get it in the clinic. We bring some really cool tools that were totally reimbursed by insurance, and that's how it's paid for by insurance, because they pay for that. A good example: cold compression sleeves that are really really cool nowadays. They have some really cool stuff on the market. That's compression therapy, and that's sold by that's reimbursed by insurance. So that's how it's sold. But other things like that laser, maybe the acoustic wave, things like that, not so much recognized by insurance. But do we have a comprehensive cash program that's affordable? In my opinion, yes. And does it help people get better faster? Absolutely. Is it for everybody? Nope. Not everybody needs it. I just make the recommendations based on what I see. What do they need? For example, if I see somebody with a total knee replacement, am I going to recommend deep tissue laser to that total knee? Absolutely not. It does nothing for a total knee. Now, somebody that has an arthritic knee, right, that's very painful to bend and really uncomfortable, and there's a lot of inflammation, yeah, great tool for that. So it's really about what's what's reimbursed by insurance, and then what does a client need. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah. Go to those conferences, guys. Go to the summits. Go network. Network is find other private practitioners that are doing it at a game. Go check out the vendors. That's so important. Sometimes I find more valuable than the actual talks. Let me see here. What else I have for you guys? Well, a few more things to say about that interview, guys. When you're selling cash services, bring clarity in the mind of the client with that initial evaluation in that interview. You cannot talk about yourself. Do not get into that expert mode where you're the expert and you know best and you have these credentials. Limit that talk as much as you can. You need to speak the language of your client that's in front of you. If they're mentioning, hey, I want to just be able to bend over and play with my kids on the floor, you need to continue to mention that. You need to speak their language, right? Because that's how they associate the value of your services. Are you going to get them to play on the floor with their kids and enjoy the evenings without pain? Are you going to help them get there? Is what your recommendations, whatever you're recommending, is going to help them get to that goal? That's their language, right? And then really getting them to verbalize their current situation, getting them to verbalize their emotion. I can't tell you how many times I spoke to a client, and somebody that's just got out of the hospital dealing with, maybe let's take for example COVID, and really fighting for their life. They're super weak, and they end up in my clinic, and I asked them, you've gone through a lot. You were in the hospital, for months. You got out, and here you are in the state. How do you feel? Like emotionally, how do you feel? And they're not asked that often. It's very rare that people get asked questions like that. And then that's when that emotion investment comes in, and then they'll be willing to commit to your plan of care, whether, whatever it may be, if it's cash or if it's a plan of care that's reimbursed by insurance. But that's very important. Bring clarity on that initial evaluation for those clients. And again, the three most common causes of a no sale. Number one on my list, you talk too much about yourself. Don't talk about yourself. Again, maybe you were too much into the details of, you went into the details of the plan of care. You went into the details of the laser and how it changes the molecular structure of the cells so that the mitochondria are stimulated. You went into too much detail. You lost them. If you want to sell your cash services, you gotta again keep talking in the language of that client that's in front of you, and make sure you build the value. Understand again that value equation, how to build the value perception of that client that's in front of you, that's trying to decide whether they're going to buy and invest, in your plan of care. Does that make sense, guys?
Yes, sir.
Well, we got a few more minutes, so any other questions? I'll be happy to answer. Just to give you a heads up, guys, the cash services we sell in the clinic, number one on my list, and the first one that we bring into the clinic was deep tissue laser, an excellent tool, pretty expensive tool. It's by far the Mercedes that we have in the clinic. We have the one by Laser Force. We also sell packages of dry needling. We sell wave therapy, the acoustic wave from Switzerland. And we sell the newbie training coming out of Austin with Garrett Sapler. He's not too far from you guys.
We'll open the floor for question. Is it Connor?
Hi, yeah, sorry. I just had one question. I know it's a little kind of off from, we've been talking about the packages and everything, but I just wanted to know, I wanted to get a kind of a conceptual idea. When you're starting to build your own practice and initially opening up, what are the kind of the things you need? And then how do you eventually, when do you say you're ready to start introducing cash packages?
I mean, that's a good question. I think it would probably be easier to start your cash physical therapy first, as opposed to going through the red tape, trying to get into the insurance game, trying to get the contract tracks established. There's a lot of red tape with that. With the cash, I know a lot of physical therapy students out of school start some type of cash therapy program, and they have their own personal clients at their house, and it's an awesome extra revenue that they have, and they get to have this one-on-one time with their clients. They love it. My brother actually, Isaac DeAnda, he's actually from y'all's school. He started that way. Now he has a clinic in Dallas, but he started there in his room in his house, and he was able to start a cash program, and now he has a small clinic, outpatient clinic, private practice. But I think if you just remember those top ways to sell cash services, the things not to do that I was talking about earlier, and I'll send you all that PDF, guys, that way y'all have it. That would be an easier way, just from the get-go, right from the beginning. Try it. I mean, there's even situations where I've seen clinics open up a small practice out of a gym, CrossFit gyms, a cash physical therapy dry needling program. I've seen golf a physical therapist that started a golf course, and they literally start out of the trunk of their car, with just some equipment that they have there, and they're helping golfers on the green before they start their golf day. So I think when is the right time to do it? The beginning, before you even get into the insurance game. Try it. Yeah. Good question. I hope I didn't overload y'all with all that, and I hope I didn't come off too salesy. Oh my gosh. I get lost into this subject, guys. I just want to reassure you that my number one priority is a client's health. Number one. I will never recommend any cash services just for the hell of it, just to make some money. Absolutely not. No, my intentions are always to help my clients get to their goals as fast as they can, as fast as I can, excuse me.
I have a question, Dr. DeAnda, for you. One of the things that you mentioned early on in your talk tonight was the long-term value of your clients.
Absolutely.
Do you have a message that you kind of give to your clients, or a message that you educate your therapists once ending a plan of care, other than, hey, you're discharged now, to make sure that they understand the long-term value?
No, there's not a specific message, although upon discharge, I do at times write a handwritten letter just to say, hey, congratulations, you did a great job with the therapy. If you have any other issues, please don't hesitate. Let me help you assess what's going on free of charge. You're a past client. I'd love to take a look at it for you. You know, having that open line with those clients that have been discharged, and then making sure you capture that email, you capture that information, that address, right? That's so crucial, because then you can totally have newsletters going out to their house. You can have an email, a monthly email that gives them great information about health. Guys, I talk about, believe it or not, my wife, she's not a uh, she's not a registered dietitian, but she's a nutritionist. She's taken a lot of education in nutrition. She started to just do recipes, right, that are kind of healthy, but kind of not. Just the recipes. My clients love that. You know, they take that information, they learn how to make a really cool Italian dish that's, you know, maybe a little heavy on the carbs, but you know, I'm always advocating, hey, you know, can you add some more salad to that to make it a little bit more healthy? But you know, just good information that you can continue to feed your clients even when they have discharged. I think that's really healthy. That's a really smart business decision, because you're keeping an open communication with your clients. Don't assume they don't want to hear from you again, guys. Remember, you were part of their healing process. You helped them get to their goals. So if you can give them quality content, and you know, give it to them, not in and maybe not in an annoying frequency, but like a healthy frequency, maybe like once, or you know, once a month, get like a newsletter, maybe some emails in that month. I think that's all practices to do, and you know, you should do it with all your clients that were DC'd. Yeah, good question.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
Any other question? We want to honor Dr. DeAnda's time. Thank you so much for coming in to give us a talk. This is definitely a different conversation than we had before, and I think it's great insight on how to get into sales and how to really help provide like the best treatment possible and help the patient to speed up their recovery. So I think this is great information. Thank you so much. And before we end, how can our student connect with you if they have a question in the future?
I'm going to, along with that PDF that I'm going to send, has all my contact information, how they can follow us at the end of the PDF, my email as well. Please, guys, I invite y'all, come visit us at the clinic, check out our business model. You can hang out with me, try some special therapies. y'all are my colleagues. You know, I think the world of you guys, and I know y'all going to be moving on to do some great work for people. So, you know, I'd be happy to show y'all around and, you know, show you what I'm doing.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. And our meeting will be ended here. Thank you so much. We'll stop the recording.
Have a good evening.
Thank
Good
you.
evening.
You bet.